Dante Bucci review. Take two. It is now recording. Hello, Tim. Interview for HandPan magazine. Dante Bucci, what was your first musical instrument?
I think my first musical instrument was a little plastic guitar. I was 3 years old, and I think I sat on it and broke it. But no, it was piano. I started taking piano lessons in first grade, and that's I guess how my music career got started.
Can you tell me a little more about your musical background?
Well, the piano lessons and singing. Singing has been a major thing since I guess elementary school, and all through high school and college. Taught me most of my theory and trained my ear. And in college, I started to pick up other things like a little guitar, some hand percussion. Actually, hand percussion was a thing that was there for a long time, but I never really recognized it until someone put a pair of bongos in front of me, and then that sort of took off. So I was self-taught in pretty much everything except the piano and the singing, of course. And then once I became a percussionist, all the flood doors opened up, and I got congas and djembes and doumbeks and all that kind of thing. So yeah, mostly that as it progressed into late college when I decided, or early after graduating college, I decided I kind of liked the obscure and unconventional, such as the singing bowl and the didgeridoo, and then I sought the weirdest things I could find, like theremin and musical saw. So that was the progression there.
Perfect. So that leads into the next question. How did you hear about the hung?
The hung was described to me by a lovely gentleman at the Philadelphia Folk Festival in 2006. He and I had been jamming in a campground at the Folk Fest. I had seen him many years prior to that. He's a regular. I had been going since 2000, and he had been going since who knows when, 70s, something like that. And we were making some music, and at the end of the jam session, he turned to me and said, "You seem like the kind of guy that would appreciate this instrument I just saw." And he didn't have one. He just described it to me. He spelled it out, H-A-N-G. It's a hung. And I went home and I Googled it. And
what year was that?
That was 2006. I found Ron Kravitz in Philadelphia, and I thought, well, he's local, so I gave him a call, and he said he happened to be going over to Switzerland shortly to bring back a batch, and his mailing list or his waiting list was pretty much full, but I was on the extended list in case other people couldn't afford it or had to bow out, so I was lucky, and when he came back, he had a pan for me. I went over to his place. I went into his basement where about 30 of these hung were lined up, and I ran around and hit the ding on every one, and picked the one I thought sounded the best. Then I went back to Folk Fest the next year, and lo and behold, Doc Terry, the guy that told me about it, had also done exactly that. Went to see Ron Kravitz, picked out his hung, and we had found each other again, and that was that.
And what generation hung was that?
The first one I got was D minor, I believe, second generation. It was not one of the officially listed scales. It was just at that time that they sort of were playing with the D minor and various other notes, but pretty much all in the same tonality.
Perfect. That leads into kind of the next question, which how did you get? We know about your first time, but how did you get your other hung, and we should just say HandPans at this point. So how did you get the rest of your HandPans, and also what scales are they?
So my first hung HandPan, D minor pentatonic, D in the center, A C D G, A something top C. Oh, that's embarrassing. I don't even know. It starts with A C D F G A C. So that's my first one. Then I don't know, 3-4 months after I got that, I had to get another. So I called Ron. I said, Ron, do you have another? And he said, well, I happen to know somebody who's selling one secondhand. Glenn Velez, popular frame drum player, had his hung he had purchased from Ron, I guess, a year or two prior, and decided that he was ready to sell it. He couldn't quite work it into his set, so I met up with Glenn Velez, and that was my F major Mellog scale. And then after that, I pretty much just dealt with those two for a while. And then at one point, I met another person in Philadelphia. And granted, there was a bunch of other people in Philly who had one because Ron was in Philly. And this guy, he had a really weird scale. It was like an Indian rag. And it was kind of out of tune. So I bought it from him, and then I shipped it off to Switzerland, had that retuned. And that really only granted me a few workable notes because it was kind of a weird scale. It wasn't actually in what I think was equal temperament, and so it wasn't Western, or which one is it? Equal temperament or
Equal temperament is Western, so like
Yeah.
just or but even Indian rogs are plus or minus cents here or there.
So, but I had that gave me the G center note, which I didn't have before, and B natural, which wasn't really workable until I had it retuned, and then also C sharp. So that opened up some doors. And then I got a bells, which is the B flat mixolydian / E flat major. And then I got a halo, which is sort of a B minor-ish Hokkaido Inferno Ake plus E, whatever they called it.
Awesome.
So I own 5 of them.
And do you know the name of your odd first gen? Is it the chord?
The chord guitar.
Chord
Yeah.
guitar.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of shifting gears, we're talking about your new album. So what is the name of your new album, and maybe some inspirations behind your new album?
The new album is, it's my debut full length. I did an EP in 2008. I called it Reminiscence, and this one is my full length album called Kinesthesia. The title is a word that is, it means your sense of where your limbs are in relation to the rest of your body. It is something that I use, that most athletes or artists or pretty much everybody use. If you've ever had a sobriety test and they tell you to close your eyes and touch your nose, that's kinesthesia right there, knowing how to find, things in space just by feeling it. And that's definitely useful when I'm playing, because I sometimes play more than one at a time, and I can't look in all places at once. I can't look at both hands at the same time. So that was the inspiration there. It is it's basically all the songs that I've pretty much written so far that I like, including a couple from my 2008 effort.
Perfect. Sorry, my dog just bit the shit out of my finger. Not his fault. Alright, so that was what HandPan. Oh, so that was inspiration. So, what HandPans will be played on the new album, or featured on the new album?
The F major, the D minor, are pretty much all over it, because I've written most of my songs in those. The chord guitar makes an appearance for 1 or 2 songs, and the Jabuk Bellar is on 1 song.
Great.
Haven't worked out the writing for the Halo. The Halo is my newest one, so I haven't had a chance to write any songs in that one yet.
And if people are wondering what instruments you're playing on what songs, is there a way they can figure that out?
Oh yeah, well I get that question all the time, like what scale is this? So I put in my YouTube comments, I usually put what scale I'm playing, and so I figured I should probably do that on the album as well. So there's a legend on the back cover, which is a little pan icon, color-coded, to show you which pan I'm playing on which songs, and in the corner is a legend which shows you the scale for that pan, and in the order that the pans are listed next to each song is actually the configuration in front of me. So the one in the middle would be on my lap, and one on the right or one on the left.
Favorite HandPan or sound model you've ever played?
I guess I would have to say my favorite is one I own. I'm the most familiar and intimate with those. The Bellard, the Jabuk scale, is probably my favorite at the moment, just because it is. It's allowed me to do a lot of different melodies, and it's versatile enough that you can get a lot of different Christmas songs out of it. And I'm working on a Christmas album now, and it has that kind of versatility. Because I'm sorry, distracted by your dog.
It's okay. We all are.
I just found that to be the most dynamic and versatile scale so far.
Any dream scales out there? Ones that you would like to see made on a HandPan, or ones you've been thinking about?
I'd have to say the Halo, the one I got, was what I had asked for. It was, I haven't had a chance really yet to focus on it, but I would say that having the B natural, having all the it has an F sharp, a B natural, it has the C sharp, it has all the notes that I've been coveting for a long time, and it's got that smoky kind of sound to it that I feel like has a lot of potential there. I don't think there's any real desire for one specific scale at the moment, because I'm very happy with all of my scales individually, and really what I would want is a proper chromatic setup that I could just learn everything or write everything on from now on, and not have to worry about what pans to bring to a gig or what order to play a song in, because it's gotten to the point where if I want to really play my whole repertoire, I'd have to bring 5 different pans and shuffle them all around, and it's a bit inconvenient. So I would ideally like, a concise 2 or 3 pan setup that I could just set up and not move around, and just play everything I ever need on that. So that's still, a wish. I haven't really figured it out, and I don't even know if it's possible, honestly, because the way the HandPan is, it doesn't have all the notes for a reason, because it sounds better without them all, and it actually has that sound ingrained. So my D minor always has that D minor color, the F major always has that F major color. So if I were to have 3 different pans and 3 different scales, and I were to start writing on them, if I were to write in a B major, I still get the D minor color off the D minor scale. So it's not it's not ideal in that kind of sense. If somebody really wants to have that kind of setup, they really have to understand the nature of the HandPan, and be able to work that in properly.
Any singing saw on the new album?
No.
Ah, shucks.
I did some singing saw on YouTube, and I started to do a little singing saw in the studio, and it just under the microscope of the studio, it was not up to par. I don't know. I thought maybe it was unnecessary. It's cool to look at, and I think that's kind of also true for the pan. I mean, when you play the HandPan, it's definitely, you get the full impact seeing it, and it's extremely compelling when you watch somebody play it. But if you're hearing it, you may not even know what you're listening to unless you can see it, which is really part of the attraction. But what I've gone for is to try to write compelling songs that you may or may not need HandPan on, or HandPan may not need to be the focus. It could be the background or the accompaniment. And in fact, there are a few tracks on my new album that actually have the HandPan in that context, where it's more of the accompaniment and the melody is supported with stringed instruments or some other things. And so that's something that I was going for, is trying to use it as a tool in my toolbox, and not necessarily just be the thing that people are hearing, and it's more for the composition as a whole. So, yeah. What was the question?
That was any singing saw on the new album. That's a good answer.
Okay. No singing saw. I didn't think it fit really. I didn't want to force it on anything, and it's very hard to get in tune. Honestly, it's more of a live instrument, I think.
Thoughts on PanArt's new creation, the Goomball or Gooble, however you pronounce it?
The gumball.
The gumball.
I saw the video. I think it's fascinating. I kind of just want to spin it like a top.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. I haven't had the chance to actually play one in person. I probably will in the next couple weeks because I think Ron Kravitz has one now, so I might go over to his place and try his.
Video.
Yeah, well, if I get to try his, I'll definitely do a video of it. I mean, it just seems like another unique feature of the same concept of melodic hand percussion. This one focuses on more of a bass and percussion vibe than the other more melodic or high pitched pans. I'm really not in a position to comment, but I'm excited that pan art is continuing to develop and create. So, looking forward to trying it.
So what's next for Dante Bucci?
What's next? Well, I tend to write songs pretty slowly, and I put everything on this new album, so I haven't written anything new yet. But I am collaborating with another musician in the Philadelphia or tri-state area, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey area. So that's my scene, and so I'm working with a singer-songwriter. Her name is Angela Chic, and she is very adept at everything: singing, playing multiple kinds of instruments. She plays a theremin as well. She plays auto harp, and she's actually very well known for her loop pedal skills. She's won competitions for the Boss United States Champion loop pedal competition, and does some really interesting things with that setup. And I myself, being somebody who plays a lot of different instruments, was very attracted to that. I've never actually done anything live with all the various things I play, like theremin, saw, didgeridoo, and so on. And I have a loop pedal as well, which I've been toying with, but I've never really worked it into a live show or anything like that. And what Angela does is sort of provide me that avenue to start playing some of these other things in a context that fits well, because she is instant with the melodies and lyrics, and I'm instant with the grooves and the vocal percussion and things. So two of us together pretty much assist one another in overcoming some of those hurdles that individually we've encountered, and so far we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So you can look forward to a collaborative effort between me and Angela. We're hoping to put together some kind of EP that'll be ready in the winter, with some really good songs. We have some featuring sliding didgeridoo, vocal percussion, her vocals. I can do harmonies, and so having somebody to sort of throw in the words there that I can sing, since I'm not too much of a lyricist, and also sort of unlocking the potential of all these instruments that together we play, probably have a dozen, maybe 10 or so instruments that are all on the stage, and with the loop pedal it actually comes out pretty cool. So that's what y'all can look forward to.
Awesome. How do you spell her last name? Angela Chic.
Sheik.
Cool. Final thoughts? Anything else?
Buy my album.
Buy my album. Buy it now.
Out October 25th.
And we can buy it on your...
You can pre-order it on iTunes October 1st. It'll be available in physical format October 22nd on CD Baby, and digital on iTunes around October 22nd. October 25th is my CD release if anyone's in the Pennsylvania, whatever region.
How many tracks?
10 tracks, and I sing on one of them.
Oh, Dante Bucci singing. All right, Dante, thank you.